Oh, yeah, better Tracer. We'll figure it out one of these days. We're right on the brink of making a breakthrough. I don't, but nobody has figured it out yet. This T1 Twisted Minds match actually is really important to me. This is like the most important match of the whole tournament, I think. So we probably won't go over it today. I want more time to go over this one. This Twisted Minds Falcons was very important. It's maybe second most important match of the whole tournament. And then this Twisted Minds Crazy Raccoons was really important also. So maybe we'll look at Crazy Raccoon today. We might skip Kings to be honest, because it's kind of bullshit. It's actually funny that in the Europe versus Korean final showdown, Korea played the most boring bullshit map of the series. Maybe we'll watch the first map from She's POV because these guys were trolling their balls off. One of the big problems, the way that KR and NA practice in the ban era is a lot different than the way the EU practices. And I used to bitch about this all the time because it was really annoying. Liquid also does what EU teams do, which is when you do scrims, obviously bans have to work a little bit differently in pro scrims. One team will do like first pick and first ban, like as normal, like usually just whoever makes the lobby first, right, gets first pick. The team that loses the map will usually do their pick and their ban. Usually, if it's competitive scrim, you can do loser picks. So it's kind of like a match, right? With the only thing being that obviously in a scrim you play more maps than you play in a match. So you sometimes at a certain point you reset bans, right? Or maybe sometimes you just end up running out of kind of good bans, whatever. What the EU teams would do and Liquid would do, they would use the bans to actually try and win every map in scrims. And this was kind of lame and annoying because that's not really how scrims have ever worked, It doesn't necessarily make you better in the long term. It makes you better in the short term. And the Korean mentality overall was that we're going to try and use our bans to practice the matchups and the comps that we want to practice. Over the long term, that would actually make us better, right? Over just trying to short term patch up holes and win as many maps as we can. The difference being that when you are prepping in boot camp for a tournament, EU style of ban prep is obviously superior. This is our short-term prep. Too many people are unwilling to switch to the short-term prep. And this was also why, when you've heard the interviews, like every time EU goes to LAN and goes to boot camp in the ban era, they say, "Oh yeah, we're actually dominating scrims. Oh, we're actually dominating scrims." And then, the last two tournaments they've been winning, right? But even before that, when EU was getting eighth every tournament, they were saying, "Oh, we're dominating scrims. We're just dominating the scrim." They probably were. It's actually not that hard to dominate scrims if you're just trying to manipulate the bans and the map picks to just squeak out wins. For long-term development, that's not very useful. If you want to emulate a match, it's incredibly, unbelievably useful because that's how it works in a match. If you're in a match, you don't say, "Oh, we wouldn't do this ban and this map pick because it's not good for our long-term improvement." It doesn't fucking matter. You need the score, the map win. That's all you need, right? So the score mentality, this short-term score mentality is really important for your draft and for short-term prep for matches. And Korea got blown out of the fucking water by EU. And this is the first example. Let's go to a specific match. But this was an example of a great draft. We prepared a ton of Zarya, Lucio, Kiri comps. Well, you didn't fucking play them. Where it's a very similar matchup, but instead of playing some dog shit Ana, Brig, Ram comp, where if you watch this map, Junbin is playing so bad, he literally walks out of spawn bottom left and instantly gets first picked to a Symm beam. Junbin is just picked in the neutral on the tankiest character in the game, right? So this is awesome, isn't it? This is a much better idea. Off tank comps and a Lucio ban situation is incredible. Why is Shu flourishing? He should be healing. It's really difficult not to fucking flourish the Ana mythic, so I kind of get it. This is my big statement to make right now. I actually don't think that Symm is meta in the sense that Symm is better than every other comp. I think Symm obviously is a very, very strong character and a strong comp. And I think it's good enough to beat any other comp. But Twisted Minds did not win the tournament because Symm is broken. Twisted Minds just won the tournament because they are better than the other teams, including CR by a wide margin and Falcons by a wide margin right now. Now, the important thing to understand as a competitor is that a match, a tournament, is a snapshot in time, right? You compete once, maybe twice, very short window of time, right? So, like Shu is saying in his interview, if we only had 3 more days of prep, we could have won. I honestly believe that, right? I wouldn't be that surprised if you give him 3 more days of prepping. They actually get to do some scrims, whatever, you win. But that's just not always the way that it works, right? At this moment, the way that they played, Twisted Minds was way better than Crazy Raccoon. Just fundamentally at Overwatch. There's three key moments from this map. Junbin goes bottom left on Ram, gets insta-picked in the neutral, and just dies like a fucking burger. Then there's a fight where TVNT reaches across the map for Lip in front of both of his backliners, and then TVNT just fucking eats him up. Here it is. So this is what we call in the business double dipping. So they go through bottom right, they TP to the Mega. Nothing crazy. This is a medium value TP, by the way. Like, nothing incredibly strong about this TP. TVNT gets to the enemy high ground. Now Lip drops off. And so this is what we call double dipping in the business, where he's dipped once, right? He got his value, he used his fly, he zoned the Ashe. This is the Diva's job, right? As if you can fly, you can take space, you can mark the enemy hit scan angle. Lip is now on the floor and he's useless. But this isn't good enough for TVNT, because TVNT does this little trick called looking away, right? And now Lip thinks that TVNT's done. He's dipped and now he's out, right? Because this is the traditional thing to do, right? And what TVNT does instead is he says, hey, your backline's actually not helping you, right? What if I can just dip one more time? Boom. And you see how Lip is not looking at him here? All he has to do is this little trick where he looks away, pretends like he's leaving. And this has nothing to do with Symm being broken, right? And this is why, like, my tune has changed from last tournament. Last tournament, there was ridiculous shit happening, like the TP perk can reach all the way across the map. The old TP perk, right, was insanely broken. This is not any of that. This is just an okay value TP, bottom right. Saves him 2 seconds of staging that he would have gotten anyways. Raw skill, double dip slip, and just fucking kills him, right? So this is important. This is critical moment number 2 for me. Critical moment number 3 happens in a second, when you can see we're coming up close to both support ults. This is not a farming issue. We have both ults, right? They literally have both ults. And also, it's last fight, right? So the plan here clearly is go bottom. We're going to get stuffed by someone or something, right? So just rally to get out of there. And then once we rally out of there, we give the nano to somebody, right? Maybe it's Lip, maybe it's Heesang, maybe it's Junbin. It really doesn't matter, right? Just give the nano to somebody. And what do they do instead? Compared to us mortals, well, their plan actually is, Chorong, don't rally when you get stuffed. Actually, instead of rallying, just get one shot, and instead of nanoing, just fucking die, right? Critical moment number 3, we are being stuffed, it's time to rally, and Chorong says, not yet, I actually have a secret plan that I'm going to rally something later on in the fight, and I just die with both support ults, right, in a fight that they could have won. So this, to me, when I say Symm is not meta, I'm really serious about it. Like, there were incredibly close matches. T1 should have won their game. CR could have won this incredibly easily. Like, look how badly they're playing, and it's still close. Like, TM is not winning because of Symm. They're just winning because they're better. Those are the first 3 critical moments from map 1 that really made me start to wonder. They go Dorado and they ban Symm. Obviously, dog shit draft. We need our Symm ban for later. And we should be able to win a dive-centric map without having to ban Symm if we were good. This is where someone sent that tweet earlier where Shu, I closed the tweet out because he was pissing me off, but Shu says that he's arguing that Monkey's not good, and he's saying, well, if Monkey's so good, then why can't we win Dorado in the dive mirror against D.Va? It's because you're dog shit. And there's a really critical moment here that showed me that TM was much better than Crazy Raccoon, and it was on second point defense. But it's this beat in primal fight. Did you catch what just happened? Actually, let's go to Junbin's POV. It might have happened too fast. So let's go back, okay? So this fight, we have Blade, we have Beep, and we have Primal. Keep in mind, UB is on fucking Tracer, right? So anything that happens this map is just raw skill, right? There's no bullshittery going on. Monkey versus D.Va is supposed to be a skill matchup. It is. Honestly, it's slightly favored for the Monkey, right? So if you're this team and you're losing it, it's just because you're playing badly. So how does this type of fight take place? Well, they have both support ults. All you have to do is we're going to jump top with one of the ults, right? It's either going to be the Blade or the Beat first. And then we're going to continue those kills after they use their beat or after they use those rush. If they rush, we're probably going to use our primal, knock everybody out of the rush onto the ground. Then we can chase the kills on the ground. Or maybe we're going to blade if we didn't use it, whatever. We're going to get up top with an ult, and then we're going to chase after the beat. We might kite a beat, or maybe we might, match the beat or whatever, live for a second. But none of that matters if you fail the first skill check, which is getting up top in the first place. And anyone who's watched my Dong Hack video, there's a really important skill 1v1 that's going on here, which is your monkey against the enemy Lucio. If I jump up here and I get booped off, then I'm the worst team and we lose the entire game. If I'm a good monkey player, like a really good monkey player, like he's supposed to be, then I jump up and either I jump up here so that the boop doesn't actually knock me off and I get knocked back this way and then I can turn around the corner again, right? Or I get a deep kind of jump over here when I could jump up kind of past or behind the Lucio, right? Or maybe if I'm just going to jump up from here, I'm just going to bubble early instead of actually greeting my bubble to get it all the way up top. I'm going to let it fall down here so I can use the bubble to block the Lucio boop because I have primal anyways, right? So who really cares about the bubble? There's plenty of ways to do this jump and get top that all the good monkeys know, right? I can even, yes, exactly. I can path up here instead, right? And then I can jump over. There's lots of ways to do this, right? There's only one way to fuck it up, which is to lose the micro 1v1 to Funny Astro, the oldest Lucio in the game. And so what do they do this fight? First of all, I just saw Funny Astro's up, right? Funny Astro's wall riding at the top. We just picked Yubi. We're up 1, right? There's only one way to lose this, and it's that. That is the only way to lose this fight. And when I watched this live, I freaked out. I freaked out, man, because this is not how this matchup happens ever. Last tournament, we're playing monkey, we're playing ball into Symm, and the matchup is really hard because my tank's getting punished by the Symm comp, Symm cast, whatever. There's no Symm or cast here, but there's no bullshit punishing my tank. This is just my tank is getting punished by normal shit. So when Shu asks, if monkey's so good, why can't we win? This is why. My beat just hits only 3 people instead, doesn't hit either of my people that needed ult. We're just chucking a primal from no setup across the map. Right. So this is why you can't. Everybody knows this, right? Like, everybody understands. Like, if I went back into the VOD, for example, if I were to presume myself to be a coach, right? Which is unrealistic because I'm not a coach. Everybody knows that. But if I were to presume myself to be a coach for a moment and I were to take Jumbin back into this fight, I would say, hey, Jumbin, you need to block the boop. He would say, I know. Of course he knows this. I've seen him do this a million times. But why aren't you doing it? When you get into the match, why aren't you doing it? And there's a lot of answers. But this is the hard part, right? The hard part is not knowing what to do. The hard part is making sure that you do everything that you know how to do when it matters. When Twisted Minds came into this tournament, like when you watch the POVs with the cams on, there's something that you can see very clearly, which is that these players are fucking locked in. Like, this is like, look at Quartz throughout this whole fight. His expression doesn't change at all. Like, he's literally looks like a zombie. He doesn't blink at all. No reaction to that. Like, just look at his face throughout this whole fight. It's literally ridiculous. And he pokes from right, and then he slips through the back main after farming his rail and breaking the lamp. Look at this. Kills Kellex, no reaction. Kills Landon headshot, no reaction. Literally nothing. He's just a robot whose only purpose is to kill people. This is something that's really difficult to like tell people how to do and tell people how to achieve this. It's very fucking difficult, right? Like, I can't just tell you like, hey, make sure you're locked in for your match, right? Like, that's just dog shit advice. But if you want to ask me like, why did Twisted Minds win this tournament? This is so clearly different. Emotional. You know your legacy is on the line. You know your revenge is on the line. We've already lost to this team. In the back of your mind, you're thinking things like, oh, a lot of our EU scrims got canceled. We didn't really get to prep this matchup that well. Oh, we've already lost the first map, right? And if you can't discard those things, you can't win. Against a team like this, like Twisted Minds is canceling your scrims on purpose so they can get in your head. And they succeeded. There's a book from a very successful football coach named Bill Walsh that I think is an incredible read if you want to be a coach. He perfectly describes this Overwatch player mindset that I see happen all the time, which is that there's 2 gut human reactions to getting nervous, right? Number 1 is you shell up and you become scared to make plays, right? And for example, if you see this type of thing where you pick someone across the map. I think it was Timeless when we lost to Citrus on Oasis Garden, I think it is, with Chopper farming a rail and just picking their Lucio across the map. Literally just picks their Lucio across the map, 5v4. And what do we do in that moment as players that are kind of nervous is we shell up and nobody pushes. We pick their Lucio across the map. What more could you possibly want in an advantage? And nobody pushes. We have full cooldowns, everybody's full health, and over time, they just get a pick because we didn't push. Shelling up is the default reaction to getting nervous, right? And there's another one that's equally as dangerous that people think is their counter to shelling up because you're getting nervous, which is playing too excited. There's a lot of players that do this, a lot of main supports that do this. For some reason, main supports and tanks are incredibly susceptible to this. When your main support gets nervous, what he does probably instead of shelling up is he just fucking sprints it down main and dies, right? He says, guys, we gotta do something. Chill out, right? Actually, I have a quote somewhere. Realize that when the mind becomes disturbed by external factors, that nervousness, right? The first instinct is to become conservative or cautious. While cautious may be the proper course of action, it should only be exercised as the result of a rational thought process and not just an emotional response to the apprehension and fear, right? Realize that the ability to restrain yourself from deciding I've got to go for it now when things are going badly takes considerable self-control. And so this is the second type of nervousness. We just picked someone across the map. He was picked at the recall. And so Junbin says, I've got to go for it now, right? No, you don't. You could put quartz on Monkey and he's not doing this. I'm dead fucking serious, right? It's just the mindset. I kind of want to watch a little bit of the last map. Actually, now I'm remembering the last map. Didn't they play Zarya Genji the entire game? Yeah, they played Zarya Genji. Okay, these players just don't fucking want to win. Like, they're just playing. Venture's unbanned. The character that has the best matchup into this comp and like soft counters the entire comp. Also incredible synergy with Zarya and Prig. And they just decides, I don't want to play Venture. Let's play fucking Genji and throw the entire map. So I actually don't want to watch this now that I think about it.